Okay, thank you. Okay, I got that, and that. Oh my. All right, don't know how I'm gonna kick this off, but I have a man coming through very strongly, and he is connecting to your side of the family. Strange. There was a fishing trip that was going on around a passing. This is significant. So there's a weird story about someone almost being electrocuted, which is like a whole situation. But I feel like I'm almost electrocuted. That's so random. Do you know of any connection?
Yes, my brother. His name was Trey.
Okay.
So the last job that he did with his dad, Harvey.
Right.
Yeah, they were working by a lake, and
Right.
My dad almost got electrocuted from it.
Interesting. So that would be, and that's why I'm saying the fishing. Okay.
I'm starting to get nervous now. They were doing an electrical job for this lady.
On the lake.
On the lake.
Which he was talking about the fishing.
And Trey had cut the power, and Harvey went to connect the power, and the power was still hot.
And so it zapped him. And so that was really like the last thing they did together. And so that was, I mean, and no one would have had any way of knowing that. That's what's so bizarre. It's something, it's just amazing to think.
He comes through very, very peaceful, but he is making a very profound connection to your dad, and the feeling basically is that dad never recovers or gets over this. The reference is, when I die, dad just never is ever able to come back from this. It's almost like your dad's life ended when your brother's did. And it's just, for him, it's hard because he didn't want to see his dad just kind of go about being a shell of himself, honestly, to some extent, because of his death. And so for him, he's apologizing, almost like, I'm sorry that I went when I did, because I didn't know that this was going to impact dad so much.
People that have met my dad after my brother passed, I'm like, but you don't know him before. He was so different before. And so to hear Tyler say that when your brother died, he did too. And there's so much truth to that. And so I'm very grateful for that.
Brother was, okay, wow. When he's coming through, immediately he's showing me a bunch of question marks. That seems to indicate that there would have been questions as far as what exactly happened. We don't really know exactly what is the initial catalyst. The feeling that comes across from his end is he's viewing his death as actually, like, traumatic. This is strange in the sense this is not somebody who's coming through and traditionally showing like they'd be the type to end their life as far as like committing suicide. And there's a reference to questions around the death. It's just a weird thing because it does not feel natural, and it's making it a point to say I would not kill myself.
There's no way he would have known that.
No.
Because I can't argue with what I'm seeing. He's putting a weirdness around, like, why would I be where I'm at as this happened? It's such a weird thing. This is so weird. God. He would not have been able to see the person who did this. There is a feeling of almost not being able to see how this happens. And I don't know if it's due to the positioning, but I don't feel like I see, you know, like the face of someone who shoots me, but I feel like I'm here and then I'm gone, and it's really quick. But it just doesn't feel like a suicide.
Trey died from a gunshot wound. And Trey was left-handed, but there was never any gunshot residue on his hands.
That is the message, and I guess that's why he brought it up. I just don't think this is a suicide.
It does give me a certain level of peace, I guess, as crazy as that sounds, to know that he didn't do this, you know, and my father so blamed himself, you know, for him to see this and be like, that wasn't the case. Truly, I mean, means the world.
I just have one thing. We have felt things in this house, and
all good things.
All good things. Is there any way you can take a little walk around?
We've always sort of speculated there could be like some ghost dance parties happening around while we're here.
I'm really excited to see what Tyler has to say about it.
Energy-wise, like up this stairway and in here, it's just good to keep in mind that there's like a higher kind of rate of energy. So you might notice things, just kind of keep this area in mind. There's a presence of a woman that comes through pretty strongly. And it's like very much in here for some reason and like up there. So if you see someone out of the corner of your eye, don't worry, it's all good.
Is it all good?
It's all good, friendly, but connected to the house in some way. And it's just very like kitchen oriented and up the stairway.
We're always having issues with like the televisions and tech and sound, and it's not like traditional like, oh, you know, it's really weird how the TV will shut on and off, the Wi-Fi will go in and out. And I feel like whoever's here partying is like tech addicted, but not quite good at it.
Right. No, there are times where, I mean, I think things do come through electricity. It's a conduit of energy, and so they sometimes will use it, and sometimes not well. But yeah, I was having to worry about it. I feel great.
Okay, good.
Like it's an amazing, beautiful house.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
buddy.
So they're having me talking about the four. For some reason, they're having me talk about like 4 kids, 4 siblings, like the 4 situation.
Oh my gosh, they just got the chills.
But they're having me talk about 4. So do we know where the 4 would be within the family?
Yes.
There are 4 of us.
Oh, nice. Okay, very cool. So the way I would describe this is when I have an energy coming through that's like a contemporary, they'll show it being on the same level. And a contemporary is typically someone who would be generationally around our same age. We'll get into more of what this is, but it's that kind of energy that to me feels almost kind of premature, as I would be viewing like too soon. It's interesting, like sometimes they'll come through and want to talk to parents or refer to like other people in family, but there's really a priority about wanting to refer to the siblings and talking about the siblings. And it's just like, that's where all the focus is. It's like,
It's important.
it's like essential. And I keep hearing sister, 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 sister. I don't know what this is, but it has a couple different, there's like a double meaning with this that I'm trying to pick up on. There's a feeling of like, I wish I could stick around longer because now, like, this is when I would start having opportunities.
Yes,
and like, they're showing me, like, I don't know what this is. I'm seeing fashion shows and references to, like, I'm seeing my picture being taken and photography and all this stuff. I don't know if this was stuff that was, like, planned or in the works at the time. So, where does that apply for you guys?
We have had a sibling that passed away a year ago yesterday.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Alexis, who was our transgender sister,
Oh.
but was very comfortable, was both at the end. It didn't matter.
Right.
So a year ago yesterday died. And Alexis came out 20 years ago and was the famous person who was a boy who wanted to be a girl and was a pioneer. And I think it was sad because it's more accepted now.
Right.
And Alexis would be doing such incredible work.
That's so sweet. Despite passing at what I would consider to be like untimely, there's a feeling of acceptance. And I know this is kind of hard to explain, but this person gives me this feeling of like I was okay to go before I died, but despite the fact that this feels like sudden or fast or quicker, there's a feeling of like I've thought about this before. This almost was like someone who would have taken into consideration the idea that they might not live a full life. And it's kind of like understanding this and processing this. But the feeling with this is really like very much so wanting it to be known. There's a sense of peace before I pass.
Yes.
And a knowingness around this of I'm okay, I'm fine. Like I knew, and I'm okay.
So in what I do for a living,
Sure.
there are risks to other people.
Right, okay.
Do you see any of those things being a problem in the next year or so?
Let's look. Do you have anyone in the medical field in your family?
Yeah.
Okay. You know of anyone in the medical field, corrective? Is someone gonna go through corrective surgery? No, but this
Yes.
wouldn't
Yeah, so I'm a surgeon.
be. Oh!
And I correct mistakes that have resulted from surgery. That's what
Right.
I do. That's very good.
That's just what comes through.
Right.
So I'm referencing to basically someone who would have an open wound, and I'm saying necrotic tissue with breasts in some form of a either bad, like awful plastic surgery.
From what I did?
No, but from what was done. When this happens, because this particular case has yet to happen, when it does, really kind of assess whether you can really do it or not, because it's really extreme. There's a lot of scar tissue. It looks like this would be very difficult to even stretch. Like it's kind of a weird thing. It just doesn't feel like this could work. So that's good to keep in mind. But
So you're saying don't do it?
I would say don't do it when you're faced with this particular case.
You mean this Tuesday's case I shouldn't be doing?
Oh God. Okay.
That's this Tuesday's case?
Yes. It's a very high risk breast problem with skin that's that was damaged as a result of infection and skin death.
Is it an open wound?
It was an open wound.
Okay. It's not a guaranteed failure. It's not a guaranteed failure, it's just the odds are kind of against you, is what I would say.
He's gonna call you and say, I told you so.
Right.
I will tell you, the surgery is so difficult, the odds are always against us.
Sure, I bet. There's still hope, but there is reference to 2 additional surgeries, so that might not be a bad thing. It could mean that one gets done and then we need another.
Cancel the case.
Yeah.
Tyler's intuition is so accurate, and I know he's got such a really strong medical intuition ability that maybe I'll put him in a pair of scrubs, a gown, and a mask and bring him in the operating room.
It's interesting the way this comes through, because this person comes through more for you, but they keep bringing up you over and over again. Now, where my attention is being brought is they're having me talk about a female on your mom's side of family, and one is coming through, would have passed away very prematurely is the way I would describe it. Like, just feels like shouldn't have gone when you went. They're putting some emphasis on the timing of this, and the timing of it basically corresponding with the time that would normally be positive, at a time when we should have been happy, looking towards the future. It feels like it shouldn't have happened when it did. It's like, bam, I just feel like I get blindsided is the way that I would describe this. It's a situation where she's like, hey, I'm focused on my health, I'm focused on what's going on, and then bam, this happens to me. It's not from me, it happens to me. It just happens, and the feeling is I wasn't expecting to go when I went. Basically, in the context of the passing, we don't know what exactly happened. It keeps coming through. Either delayed in being informed or delay in knowing what exactly happened.
That's right. So yes, the person you're talking about, her name was Gloria.
Oh.
Gloria is my mother, and I call her Glojo.
That's what we call her.
Yeah, we call her Glojo, because she always just bring that excitement in there, so we call her Glojo. And yeah, she passed 9 months ago, 8 months ago.
Wow.
It happened 4 days before my birthday.
Gotcha. Celebratory time. Gotcha.
With my mom, they didn't do an autopsy. I mean, they didn't recommend it, and I wanted it because I'm like, well, you would want to know. I mean, she was 69, and they was like, well, natural causes. I'm like, but she's not
old.
Yeah, I'm like,
yeah.
Because I just felt like it wasn't right, but.
So, sadly, we were never able to figure out officially what her cause of passing was, correct?
Right.
Correct. Yes. The main thing I think about was it hard for her at the time that she passed? You know, she was so strong. I hope she was strong within that transition.
Of course. I think something had just gone on. She wasn't feeling well. It was clear she was in a state that she wasn't herself. But I don't get a sense of suffering. I do feel a deep sense of peace. I feel like I'm good. And there's never a good time to go. But I want you to know the way this comes through, she had time to kind of think and have a sense of acceptance and a sense of peace. Mm-hmm. And that's huge.
Thanks. To be honest, you feel like a part of you is gone forever, like you never can replace it.
When you don't know and you love somebody and they've been such an instrumental part of your life and, unexpectedly they pass, Tyler being able to say she wasn't, in pain or she wasn't suffering, that was something, like, for real.